Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Blair Wallace, and today I'm super excited. Sometimes in my job, I get to meet brand new people, and that's always exciting. But it's a different kind of excitement when you get to sit down with someone that you know, and you get the opportunity to, like, that forced lunch date where you ever try to have lunch with a friend and it never works
And
out.
everybody's busy.
This is our lunch date. So this is Miss Sunshine Neely. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, it is. It is my pleasure and the audience pleasure. Trust me. I have known you. Golly, I can't even go back to how long it's been.
I know.
We'll call it a graceful 2 years, and then
Yeah.
that doesn't age us at all.
Exactly.
We had the opportunity to really meet through your son endeavors.
Yes.
But I first want to give you the honorary question that everybody gets: is how did you and your family end up in Putnam County?
Well, I am born and raised in Putnam County.
Yes, Carol.
Yes. I grew up right here in Palaca on the north side.
Okay.
Graduated from Palaca High School. I did leave Palaca for a few years to attend college.
Perfect.
And I ended up kind of, I don't even know, meeting my husband, who I knew from Palaca, and coming back to Palaca.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love when people go. I always tell, my kids and other generations who are developing into getting ready to go to college, please leave. And they look at me. I was like, but come back.
Yeah.
Bring all your education back. So, in your endeavors after you graduated from high school, now, how many generations? Let me rewind. How many of your generations before you were here?
At least 3. I know my great grandfather moved to Palaca,
Okay.
out in Francis area.
Okay, yeah.
And he purchased some land in Francis and built a home, and then had my grandmother, and then my grandmother got married, and she raised a family, which is my mom.
Mhm.
And then my mom had a family, which is me, and then me, and then so it's just me and my brother. But so is that 3 or 4? Four generations.
And you made the 5th.
Oh, wait.
Y'all can math that
I know.
out. I can't. And then your husband's also
Yes.
rooted in Putnam County,
Yes,
right?
my husband's family, I definitely believe there are 4 to 5 generations of Neelys here in Putnam County. Yes.
Now, curiosity, what was your maiden name?
Low.
Low? Okay, and that name sounds familiar. It's always interesting to me to meet somebody who tells me they were born and raised in Putnam, and I didn't meet you until my adulthood.
Right.
I was also born and raised in Putnam.
Yes.
We're a big county.
Yes.
Seriously. Yes. I lived on the other side of the bridge where it was a trip to town. I talk about that all the time.
Now, growing up, me and my cousin had a joke that every summer we would move. So I've lived in Willaca. I lived in East Palaca, Palaca, and then out in the Francis area.
You need a pin.
Yes, exactly. And then since me and my husband were married, we have lived in Hollister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've been all around Putnam.
If I think about when I look at the list of communities, so if you go on Wikipedia, some of them are hyperlinked because they're bigger communities,
Right.
and then there are smaller ones. But you lived in a third of the community.
Yes.
That's incredible. So,
Yes.
Growing up in South Putnam, I always wanted to live in Palaca. I felt like all the cool kids live in Palaca. And to be fair, it was again a 20-30 minute drive to anything worth driving for. Not that I didn't love a good trip to Hitchcock's, but once you had to go over that bridge, that was it. And then I lived in Palaca, and I was not wrong. It was so convenient. I lived off of Silver Lake Drive. So you got to go to the store, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yep.
Now we're in East Palaca. So I was proud I made 3 of the areas. And I did a lot of stuff in the South Putnam, Crescent City, Pomona Park. But anyway, so when you were in high school, what did your future look like? What was it that you wanted to do and go to college for?
So in high school, I wanted to be an interior designer, and I also
Shut up.
I did.
Okay.
And I wanted to own my own business.
Right.
I had no idea what type of business, but I knew I wanted to own a business, and I wanted to be a designer.
Right. That's
So
so
that was my
funny.
goal. I graduated high school and I moved to Gainesville,
Uh-huh.
and I attended at the time Santa Fe Community College, and worked on my AA. Actually, I worked on my AS degree in
Okay.
business administration, and I did
Because
that.
you want to know your own
Right, I
business
went on my
license,
business,
girl.
and then during that time, I kind of the interior design kind of went out the window. But I knew I wanted to either own my own business or manage a business.
Right.
And so I earned my AS, and I did that. And so after I got my AS, I started working for a company called Metabolic Research Center. It's a weight loss center.
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember the
Yeah.
commercials.
I ended up there, working as a consultant to assistant manager to a manager. And, I had felt like I fulfilled my dream.
Right.
And a lot of the other girls there were in college at UF and different things like that. And that encouraged me to go back to school. And I enrolled in St. Leo and earned my bachelor's degree in business administration.
I love that. I think it's so funny that you've got such a bubbly personality, and I've been accused of having one of those personalities. And I also wanted to do
True.
interior design. Oh my gosh. But I don't want to say fortunately or unfortunately, it was talked out of, well, you can't stay in Putnam and do
And do that.
interior design. Though that I
Yeah.
believe that may not be true
True
as
now.
much anymore. Yep. Because we had, Charlie had an interior designer do his office. And I do think that we have a lot more community members coming in. And I think that need is going to be more
Yes.
necessary as we grow. But I thought that was interesting that you
Mhm.
also picked that. I have always told my children, I don't care what you do in life, do it for yourself.
Right.
You know, it is important to me to go get that working for somebody else experience so you understand. But to run in and do it for someone else your whole life, I feel like is a disservice when go to school,
Right.
get a little education, and then you could do it for you.
Yep.
So you go in, you get your AS, and then you go and get your bachelor's, and then what happens from there?
So from there, after I got my bachelor's degree, I ended up working for City College,
Mm.
which is a not-for-profit college in Gainesville, and then moving on to the University of Florida, working in the Office of Admissions. And I love that. I worked recruitment for minority students, and so that was really rewarding and exciting. And then I would say I met my husband, but I knew him. I
Right.
grew up with him. His father and my uncle were really good friends. They fished together, ride motorcycles. So I knew him. And then one day he I think back, like not like maybe like 2 years ago, it's
Right,
MySpace.
exactly.
He messaged me on
The
my
tail end of my
I
space,
know,
right?
right? And he's like, hey, give me a call. And he has his number. And I was like, what does he want?
Right.
At first I thought I was in trouble. I was like, maybe he knows something. Like, what did I do?
I did go to
I
college.
know maybe he's gonna tell my uncle. So I give him a call and he's like, I want to take you on a date. And I was like, a date?
Good for
I
his
know.
confidence.
So literally we went on a date that week and that was it.
The rest
Yep,
was history.
the rest was history.
That's amazing.
And we actually we grew up like in high school. He grew up on North 7th Street and I grew up on North 6th Street.
Wow.
Yep. So it was
So,
really funny that we
faded
ended
at
up.
a young age.
Mhm.
I love it. Is that the reason that you moved back?
That is the reason I moved back. We started dating. It got serious, and he proposed, and then I was like, "Oh, wait, do I move back to Palaca or does he move to
Right.
Gainesville?" So we
No
talked,
easy choice,
right?
I'm sure,
And
for
so
the
I moved back to
family.
Palaca.
Thank you for bringing her back. We need her. So obviously you're now prepared to run your own business. Um, but interior design, like we discussed, maybe not so much the need at the time. So, what did you decide to do when you came back?
Because I worked with the university for maybe 6 or 7 years, and I enjoyed that work. I pursued a career here at St. John's River State College. So I applied for a position. I wasn't selected for that position, and then I was encouraged to apply to their adult education department for a similar position that I did at UF.
Okay.
And it was, and I loved it. I
Right.
loved, I am a cheerleader for the underdog.
I
And so every day was a reward, getting
Uh-huh.
those students back in the playing field.
I'm sure that's so fulfilling.
So fulfilling. I mean, a lot of people think, well, I dropped out of school because I had a baby or this happened, but some kids are,
Somebody told my story.
right? some some kids are not in school because of medical reasons. They have to grow up fast. Someone has
Yeah.
to, help get a job, help take care of the family.
Yeah.
So it's really rewarding getting those students to achieve a goal that they thought they would never achieve.
I can totally. Oh, I
Yes.
get all goosebumpy thinking about that. I've talked to a lot of people in a lot of nonprofits and different areas where they're helping the community, but I never really thought too much about that role,
Mhm.
nor honestly did I know that our college had that kind of department.
Yes.
I personally was attending the college at St. John's River State. Was not. It was a community college at the
Right.
time. 2 years ago. That's going to be our
I
reference.
know 2 years ago.
And I took a semester off and majored in motherhood instead.
Mhm.
And it really was a far-fetched idea for me to go back because now I had another life I had to provide for. And don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful for the on the job life education that I received and being self-taught in so many things, but I had always wished I went back. And then I watched my mom go back to school and get her teaching degree,
Mhm.
which was super inspirational. And she graduated, I think it was Phi Theta Kappa. Like she did
Oh
the thing.
wow.
Um, but I can think about like if I had the opportunity to go back now, just to say I did it, how
Right.
amazing that would be. But people who wanted to complete that, you
Mhm.
get to watch them,
Yes.
walk across that stage. Oh,
The thing
it's
I learned that we all have a journey, and
right,
there's no identical journey. You may have a best friend and you're like, "Oh, I want my journey to we're going to have matching journeys." But
right. The high
everybody, all
school
right?
dream.
Everybody has a different journey, and just because something happens doesn't mean that it's the end of your journey.
Right.
So, working in adult ed, I was just excited and honored to be on those students' journeys
Right.
and to be their cheerleader, to have their back, because you never know what's going on at home.
For sure.
Yeah. And so are they not being supported? Is it just them?
Right.
Whatever. So it was very fulfilling and rewarding to be there and to cheer them on and just be on their journey.
I love that. Now, what did your husband do at the time you moved back?
So he
There's
worked.
a reason I'm
Yes.
asking that to the viewers.
He worked for Georgia Pacific. So
Right.
when we started dating, he was working for Georgia
Okay.
Pacific. And so I came back and he continued to work for Georgia Pacific. And he's had several roles and different promotions with Georgia Pacific. And his
Commercials.
I know.
No biggie.
He currently is a planner, but he just received a promotion. I know, we're excited. So he will be over. Don't quote me on this. Like something with maintenance department type of position.
Things doing
Yeah,
things, but
yeah.
being over things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that.
He's a boss.
I had to chant somebody's position over and over because it was a very long one, and then we shortened it down. So, but he does things in a boss role.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, the reason I asked that question, forgive me for positioning the interview, but I got so excited. So you recently shared a commercial, that GP film
Yes.
that your husband and his father started
Yes.
because is it second generation?
Yes,
Second generation at GP. That is so amazing.
Yes. So it was an Angel Soft commercial, and of course GP makes Angel Soft.
Right.
And it was for Father's Day, and they were highlighting the legacy.
Right.
Where my husband's father, Mr. Harold Neely, worked for Georgia Pacific. He actually retired from there, and I'm not even sure how many years.
Well, we'll put the commercial below.
Yes,
so you guys can watch that.
And that was really, really fun. So my husband was in the video with his dad, and they shot some films in our backyard, in the house, in the kitchen, and you'll see I have a little cameo on the video.
I did see you.
I know. And then my son is also in the video, as well as Makari and Madison are in the video. It was a really good video.
I definitely needed a tissue. It was amazing to see that. And what is so incredible about one of the many incredible things about Putnam County is that generationally, not only in your own business, which is something that you obviously have established for yourself, and we'll get to that. I know we're talking about growing up, but that your husband and his father were able to work for the same community provider, who's been around for a very long time in our community, and supported. And many families are products of a parent or parents who have worked and retired from GP. So they're still going strong.
Yes,
so that's amazing. Anyway, so let's keep going down the journey. So you're doing your thing at the college, and he's doing his thing at GP, and then obviously along the way, you're going to put your education to use. Tell me where your signs.
So came in 2020. Everybody knows we were going through COVID, and I had a friend who lives in Ocala, and she was like, "Hey, I think I have a business idea for you. I think you should do it." And she told me about this company. It's a franchise called Gypsy, and I was like, "Yeah, no, that's not something I want to do. I don't want to roll around in people's yards. Not me, not today." And I was like, "No, not interested." And so fast forward, we're in 2020. We're in the middle of the pandemic. My husband falls 17 feet from a tree stand in the middle of the woods. Him and our
17 feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know why. I have zero idea. Just for y'all watching, I have zero idea how tall this is. That was me envisioning 17 feet.
He falls 17 feet from a tree stand. They're out in the middle of I believe Flora home somewhere, and he's knocked out. He doesn't even know it. My son is trying to wake him up, and he's like, "Daddy, should I call 911?" And so I told my son, from now on, if your dad falls, just dial 911. You don't have to worry about waking him up.
Don't worry about it.
So So my husband comes. He wakes up and he tells my son, "No, we're not going to dial 911." They get in the truck and they drive the truck back to the hospital. And so he calls me, he's a jokester. So he's like, "I just fell out of a tree stand." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever."
Exactly.
I was like, "I'm going to bed." And I was like, it was like 8:00 at night. I was like, "I'm in bed." He was like, "No, seriously, I need you to meet me to the hospital. I fell out of a tree stand." And I was like, "But you're talking. You're not dead."
Right.
And he's like, "No." He was like, "I'm in so much pain." He was like, "I fell from a tree stand." And he said, "I need the insurance card." And I said, "Well, the hospital can't turn you away because you don't have insurance. Just go." Literally. So I'm watching on 360, like I'm watching him drive, 100, and then I see he turns down St. John's Avenue, and then he's on Ziegler.
This joke.
And I was like, "Are you serious? Are you really going to the hospital?" I'm in my pajamas. And I'm in the bed looking at Life 360 like, he's really at the hospital.
Right.
So I
first of all, I love that is how intense the joking is that you're having to watch I'm going to catch him on his way home. That's so funny.
So he called. So my phone rings. He's like, "Where are you?" "I'm at the hospital." And I was like, "Are you serious?" So I get out, give him put clothes on. I get to the hospital, and he is parked at the hospital. He can't get out. And he literally drove his truck with his arm up like this. So he's driving the wheel like this, and he can't put his arm down. And so when I get to the truck, I'm like, what are you doing? So he's like, I can't get out. And I was like, it wasn't funny then.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
hindsight,
But so
absolutely.
I'm like, what are you doing? He was like, I can't get out. I can't get out. And so my son is there. He was like, what do we do? And I was like, I don't know. And my husband's, he's a big guy. So he's like, um, I can't pull him out. So I run in and I tell, I'm like, hey, I need help. My husband fell out of a tree stand. So immediately, they go crazy. They think he's paralyzed. His blood's everywhere. And, but they come out and they help us get out, or they help him get out into like a wheelchair, and they rush him in. And then I tell my son to move the truck, and I run in, and the security's like, oh, ma'am, you can't come in. We're in the middle of COVID.
I didn't even think about that. I was riveting on
And
this
I'm
story.
like, what? Sir, that's my husband.
Right.
He was like, ma'am, you cannot come in. You have to stay outside. And I was like, are you serious? Now I went from thinking it was a joke to like seeing him, can't
Right.
move. And now you're telling me I can't come in. I just burst out in tears. And I'm just like,
no
and
other
I was like
logical
bawling.
response.
And then I was like, all right, get yourself together. And I literally, when I tell you, I laid down some prayers out in the parking lot, and I, text a few people, and I was like, listen, I need you to pray immediately.
I cannot fathom at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take a moment
Yeah.
to think about how many people went through what they went through alone.
Yes.
And not only for them, but the people on the other side. It's not like you could do anything from inside.
Yep.
Or have any control in general, but the comfort of being together.
Right. And so, like I said, I had a moment, I was screaming and yelling and crying, and I was like, okay, that's not going to get me anywhere. I started praying. Then like I said, I texted a few people, and I was like, I need you to pray now. And they did. And so then I got myself together, and I walked back up to the security guard, and I was like, listen, that is my husband in there, and I'm out here, and I need to know what's going on.
Right.
And I was like, I need you, go in there and make sure he's okay, and then come back and tell me. And then he was like, yes, ma'am. and he was really nice. He was really nice. And I was, I wasn't rude or crazy, obnoxious lady.
But you were not playing.
Yeah, I was like, I need to know. And so he did. And then he came back out, and he's like, he's okay. And And then literally from there, we became friends.
Right.
And it was like maybe every hour he would come out, and we sat out. He sat in the hospital all night. Ended up being, I guess, deemed as like a trauma. So they had to transport him from here to Orange Park. He fractured his sternum. He had, what is it, blood on his liver. He had a couple of different things.
17 foot.
Yeah.
Worth
so he was blessed to even be alive. But from that moment, when that situation happened, it was like, we're not promised tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I realized then that I had to make what time we have here on this earth meaningful.
Yes.
And so I thought about the idea that my friend positioned me with, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to help people make memories. I'm going to help people enjoy their family, bring smiles to the community.
You're like the tooth fairy without a loss. Like, I dig it.
I just need some glitter.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, you're already in a position full time to bring hope and growth to people. And for those of you who have not experienced the sign Gypsies, if you've ever pulled up to your kids' school and it's happy birthday somebody, or you've seen, driving down the road, giant, glittery, ostentatious messages of joy, hope, love, that's you.
Me.
That's you. The tooth fairy of signs. So
right.
So go ahead. Sorry. So she brought that up to you, and you decided, that's what you want to do.
Definitely, I decided. I decided, I was like, okay, I have to do it. I have to do it. And then, and literally the rest was history. I, did all the paperwork, and by the end of 2020, I was in business.
Right. First of all, two things. Number one, I did not realize that the signs were that, I guess want to say that new, because I remember for my birthday, the gals at the office had you do
Right.
the parking
Yeah.
lot. And I remember seeing the signs, but sometimes I miss out on things. I'm like, oh, we had that. And it's been here for like 20 years. Sometimes I do catch one in the beginning, but it's crazy that it's only been 4 years, but it feels like you've been doing this
Forever.
forever.
Yeah.
A, and B, the question I always want to know, and I don't know why, but whatever, where do you store all the letters? And there's different colors, there's images. Like, where are these at?
So originally it was on our back patio, but my husband, he kicked me out. So I have a storage unit that I rent. And
Okay.
so it's like I think it's a 10 by 20. But
You literally have like a giant, it reminds me of the print press
yes.
where the
Mhm.
letters are.
Mhm.
I got one of those from Deputy's Attic, one of the drawers.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to redo it. Sorry, side tangent. But that's what it reminds me of, is the print press. Do you know how many pieces you have?
Oh, that's a really good question. I do not know the answer
At
to
least
that.
26.
Yeah, you definitely. I know I can do over 30 birthday signs in one day with the material.
10 by 20.
Yeah.
I get it
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to, because I'm going to get sidetracked on that because I have questions, but let's make sure that we don't leave the audience hanging with your sweet husband and his hanging, no pun intended.
All right.
But with his injuries.
Right.
So obviously he's recovered because he's back to
Yes.
work making
Yes.
commercials.
He was out of work for maybe 6 weeks because
short compared to what I thought you were going to say.
well,
Honestly,
your sternum, I guess you can put it in a cast or however, but it was
Right.
fractured. So literally, no cast. He just had to, I guess, mend itself back together.
Right.
So he,
the
he,
human body's
right.
crazy.
but he wasn't able to stand up on his own, drive, any of that for 6 weeks. And so actually after the 6 weeks, he went in for his checkup and he was able to go back to work, but like a light duty.
Right.
But then, and then it gradually got better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The human body
Yeah.
and the speed of that recovery just had me
Yeah.
really impressed. So Sunshine is now, is it just you when you first, like the first sign you put up? Do you remember the first sign?
Oh my God, yes. So my first sign was I believe October. It was what um homecoming.
Oh, yeah.
For PHS. And I don't even know who I asked, but I was like,
Right.
hey, can I put a sign on your field
Right.
for homecoming? And they said yes. So it was during the parent and student walk
Right.
at homecoming.
Oh, I love
Yep.
that. So you obviously had to get get your signs out there. Not that once you get them out there, they're out there.
Well, from working with adult ed, I really had already done a lot of community outreach.
Right.
We were at different events throughout the community promoting adult ed. So I knew a lot of
perfect.
I knew a lot of people. But really, I think just, people doing family first. I did a lot of free signs and I still do. I do a lot of donating signs to different organizations and things like that. But in the beginning, I did do a lot of free signs to get my name out there. And then Kathy Orster invited me to, she's at PHS now, but when she was at Kelly Smith, they did.
You love us, Kathy Orster.
Oh my gosh, we love Kathy Orster.
Yeah.
They were doing a Christmas like festival, and it was Whoville, and she invited.
I remember that.
And that was my first like big event that I did. And when I tell you, after that, it literally took off.
Yeah.
Yes. And
I mean, because you had all the Kelly Smith and their siblings.
Because it was during COVID as well. So that year, they didn't get out and have like the full festival. You drove through.
Yeah.
Yes. So like literally, I believe the whole town was at Kelly Smith.
You're not wrong. Kudos to Kathy Oyster and her team, by the way.
Yes.
If nobody told you this, I'm going to bring it back.
She does amazing.
Sometimes we need to do a throwback. And it's Tuesday. I know it's not Thursday, but we're going to do this. Thank you for all involved who organized that. Because my family were Kelly Smith Sharks.
Yes.
And I was very thankful to have that joy where it felt impossible to, I mean, there was traffic
wrapped down on that krill or whatever,
I mean, we
20. Yes.
parked blocks down,
Yes.
but it was worth it. I mean,
It
everybody
was.
worked so hard, and it was immersive. And I remember your sons being
Hmm.
there, so I can understand why it took off because I think the whole
The whole, yes,
community was
it was on the
there.
radio station. It was, and it was cold because we were outside
Yes,
just waving at people, but
I
it was,
forgot what cold feels
I know, right?
like.
But it was so fun. It was so fulfilling just to be out there waving and everybody and see the kids light up. It was
Yeah.
really a great time.
So we're going to do some facts first because I
Okay.
got a lot of questions. Number one, how long does it take to put up a sign?
Um, I can put up a sign in 15 minutes. Originally,
I was going to say,
right?
let's talk about the first time
So my first time, probably like an hour.
because you were positioning
Yes,
it.
and I go back and forth, and I even now sometimes I'll change a sign 2 and 3 times before I leave a yard. But I can
Right.
set up a good sign, nice, pretty sign in 15 minutes. It now, people, you must water your grass. If the grass is not watered, it will be longer.
Things I never
Yes.
thought of,
Hmm.
but I can really relate to that because when we are, I think it was like Blue Crab, I was putting
Putting
out
this,
the station signs. I was
yes,
like, just
I know,
get
just go
there.
yes.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, so there are challenges to this.
Yes.
Or if you've got like gravel under the
Yes.
grass,
Yes.
things you don't know.
There is a home that I do frequently, and I was like, "What did like what's under here?" And the guy's like, "Oh, it used to be a store, and they tore it down, and we built a house on top of it." And I was like, "I can tell." So
Oh my
literally, I
gosh.
know. So literally, the whole yard is just hard rock gravel.
You get
So,
your workout.
oh yeah.
So what is the most you said how many signs you can you do in a night?
At least.
And you know this because you have stretched
Yes.
yourself, right? Okay, go
Yes.
ahead.
Yes. I definitely could do about 30 birthday signs in a day. Graduation season is usually my biggest, busiest time because
Wow.
every, body celebrating, and our graduations are, all of our Putnam County graduations are that week. So you have like, Interlochen goes first, then Crescent City, Palaca, and then QI.
I love that you
Mhm.
know that.
Yeah.
Like that. Like
So literally, each little school, and then their parents are having, parties or just for that graduation day. So yes, that's my busiest season.
you need to get another unit and do cards because you're like
Mm.
Hallmark. You know exactly what season's coming.
Yes.
I actually, if you'd asked me what I would think would have been the busiest season, I think Valentine's would have been in my mind because it's so showy.
Show it, yeah.
But
So I would think the same thing, but the guys they're not getting it. They're just, I
gentlemen,
know.
we need to have a discussion.
Right.
Go big or go home.
Right.
Get your lady a sign. There's no better way to shock and awe with a giant sparkly pink red yard sign with your girl's name on there.
Yes.
Have you had to set up a sign for a proposal yet?
No proposal.
Gentlemen,
That-
what are you doing?
Exactly.
Guys, a whole yard sign. Nothing says marry me like a yard sign.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. We're going to have a class on romantic gestures here.
Yeah.
I'm actually really shocked that you said no because 4 years. That's
Yes. Nope. No
I
proposals.
want to ask my husband to marry
I'm
me even though we're
open.
married. Yeah. And don't worry, we will be sure to leave links below. So when you're inspired by this video, then you too can ask your significant other. And if you know somebody who's interested in getting married or proposing, any of that, you can send this video to them and let them see. Not only are we supporting your signs, but we're supporting a local family, generations
The
of local
love.
family. That's my commercial. First time Gypsies. I'm done. So you've got a ton of signs that you can do a night. Now, I'm sure that you've drugged the family along at least
Oh yeah.
once.
Oh yeah. So my husband says I'm bossy. So
You know what you want.
right. But he does go out, especially if I have to go out late at night. He's like my security. But literally my whole family, all the way from DJ, Makari, and Madison, have helped with signs.
How do you balance that in a full-time job? You're like Batman. Like Bruce Wayne during the day, Batman at night.
It's definitely challenging at times. For the signs, I do all of that after 5 or, when I get off. So literally, my I'm customer service. I'm social media, marketing, all of that. And literally, so when I get off at 5, I start that at 5. And usually I'm up, kind of late working on invoices or social media posts or replying back to customers, things like that. So, and a lot of it is automated. So I don't have to do as much work.
Right.
So really, the way that it's set up, customers don't have to call and talk to me for an hour.
Right.
They just go to the website, fill it out, and I get an email.
Right.
And so that's kind of, that helps me out.
And they obviously trust your work.
Yes.
Because
yes.
If I look back at the evolution of your signs,
Yes.
you can see that
you
like
can see,
you started to like figure it out how you stack
Yes.
them and the layering to it.
Yes.
So you do an excellent job at that. What I love in this is that, well, I guess I'm out to ask this first. Sorry, I'm interrupting my own train of thought, but we're going to roll with it. So if it's like I don't want to say like a franchise, we'll go with franchise. So if it's a franchise, can you eventually buy all these letters and own them yourself, or?
So no, you can't. You buy them and you do own them. So if I decided to give it up, I would sell it to someone else. So I could start independently. One of the and we thought about that as well. One of the reasons why I went with a franchise is that it would help me as far as branding and marketing and getting my information out there. So there's a lot more resources than being totally independent.
Okay. But at the end of the day, if you decided, you know what, I want to be on my own and I want to gift this business to my children,
right?
Then you can pass that.
Yes,
how cool.
Definitely. And literally, Makari, our 19-year-old, she can, when I'm not available, that's my second man in charge. Literally, I'm like, hey, I need you to do a sign. If I'm at work or something and we have a last minute, request, I can usually text her and say, hey, and she could go and do everything on her own.
Do you have customers who do reach out and they like have this vision and you have to tell me about that?
Yes.
Give me an example.
Yes. So one of my, I call him my MVP or my, not my MVP, but
frequent flyer.
Yes. She will call me up for a sign, and usually it's a birthday, anniversary. She's really big into like Harry Potter. So
I like this gal.
I know. So usually for her birthday or anniversary, it's like a Harry Potter theme, and she always does themes. And literally, she just calls and she'll say, hey, we're celebrating our, I think it was like 20th wedding anniversary, and these are the colors, and just do whatever.
I love that.
And so I just go with it.
So if I wanted to throw a themed party, like, do you want to know? I can't believe I'm going to say this out here, but actually the first thought when I thought of a themed party was, this is so weird, like a goth meets plant, like a poison ivy thing. Why I came up, if you know me, you know why I came up with that. But so you could help me bring in those elements.
Yes.
Do you have to like order specific signs? Like, let's say somebody says, do you have this? And you don't, can you go out and?
Yes. So most of the time, if someone gives me a theme, like I have a birthday coming up Friday, I believe, and it's for a little boy, and he is into cows. So I'm going to do cows. I'm going to do some horses. I got some hay. I'm going to do a cowboy hat and a cowboy boot.
Oh.
So I'm gonna I think I'm gonna put a tractor in there some kind of way.
In my mind, I was envisioning.
So I was like, I don't know. So but literally, I'm gonna bring it all with me, and when I get there, that's where that interior design comes in.
Yes, girl, exactly.
I just like put it all together. So
do you have like a catalog that you like pick through the signs, or can you custom make them?
So I can custom make some signs. And then do we have a website? So we do have a website. I
think I am going to have a goth plant party.
And so actually every holiday, so right now we're back to school. So a new, so to speak, catalog rolls out.
Like a series.
Yes.
Right?
So there
season 2, season
correct.
3. Okay.
So there are new back to school graphics. I believe back to school is probably also going to be like football and
Yeah,
cheer
yeah,
and all
yeah.
of that. So that's going to come into play. And so in a couple months, well, actually, maybe in like a month or two, they'll be rolling out like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween.
So
Yep.
you could hop on trends if they
Yes.
see those trends
Yes.
coming. I dig
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. I just am envisioning the stock. Like you're gonna have to grow out of a 10 by 20 at some point. What has been like besides the ground, have you felt it to be challenging in any way?
Um, no, I not really.
So it's just pure joy.
Just pure joy.
I
Yeah.
love
Yes.
it. I
Yes.
love a good story like that. Again, I dig that your kids can do this. There's a gentleman who'll be a guest on our podcast at some point, but we've been talking about community events and things like that, and he has set his son up with success with a business that he started. Now
Mhm.
his son worked with him and
Right.
continues to do that, but when his son goes to college, it's like a business in a box.
Oh, he could take it with him.
Exactly. Yep.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think that that's such a special opportunity that not everyone gets.
Right.
And the fact that you not only are giving them a business, but a business that brings joy.
Yes.
Like I couldn't think of anybody better to spread joy among, I mean, you were named to do this. You're
Thank
born
you.
to do that. And I think it's cool that you get to use your interior design
Mhm.
to do that feature. Now, do you service all of Putnam County?
Yes, I do service all of Putnam County, which means so like Crescent City, Crescent City, Willaca, Interlochen,
I'm
a
not
li-
good with geography, and
right.
this whole podcast is about Putnam County.
A little bit of Hawthorne is Putnam County.
Okay.
So just a little bit of
Same
it.
thing with Hastings.
Right.
Hastings got
Mhm.
some
Exactly.
County
Yep.
with it.
So yep.
Have you been asked to travel further than that?
I have. I have. So part of my agreement, my franchise agreement, I can't. But there are other sister companies.
Okay.
So I'll reach out to I've had my frequent flyer lady.
Right.
I've had her request signs all the way down in Miami. So I literally make a few calls and get her hooked up.
You're doing really good in
Yes,
marketing.
yes.
Hopefully whoever gets that is like hat tip to you for
Yes,
that.
yes.
I love that. Could someone else, when you talk about an agreement, I assume that they would not allow someone else to come in and do signs in Putnam County,
Not right.
So you are the
Yes.
sign.
Now there are you can't an independent person could
Right.
start up, but yes, for Sign Gypsy, I would be the only franchise for this area.
Amazing.
Mhm.
That's so cool. I just think about the fact again that you're like creeping around in people's
I
yards
know.
at night, trying to be quiet,
Literally.
doing your
Literally.
artistic thing. I honestly want to go with you on one of your signs.
You should.
Can I?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
we'll do a little short interview because I really
Oh, that would be
am.
so cool.
I would really love to do that because I
Yes.
want to see the creative process. From an artist
Mhm.
standpoint, I think some people don't understand that there is a thoughtful dynamic to.
Yes.
Because if you like, let's everybody close their eyes and let's envision if you have the signs out and it's like HAPPY, birthday, but you like cluster them and layer
Mhm.
them where it just looks like somebody created this graphic on a
Yep.
computer and it was it's like you could put it on a t-shirt.
Thank you.
So you are very skilled at that. If you haven't seen what I'm talking about, you're missing out. But we're going to be sure to link below your Sign Gypsies. There's tons of photos on there. I'm sure if you looked up Sign Gypsies and checked out other posts on Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram, all of that. Now, as far as social media and ways to contact you, what all do you have established?
So Facebook, I do have a TikTok and Instagram.
You have a TikTok already? Okay. So she's got a TikTok. I'm excited. I can't wait to see that magic. Wonderful. Well, I just have to say, whether it's the commercial you're interested in or you're interested in the signs, I love that your family for generations has lived here, got an education, brought it back, has served this community. And thank you for bringing joy, whether it be to someone through the college and their education, or whether it be to a home for somebody's birthday or future engagement. Or marriage. I love what you're able to accomplish. So thank you and your family, because we
Thank you.
know that it's a community effort there
Yes, yes.
for all that you do. And I look forward to coming out and filming with you.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll see you on the next interview. Be sure you check out the links below if you too want to get bedazzled.